All right, I want to do just a little demonstration, a little lesson to sort of act as a reminder, because hopefully I've been able to show you this in person on how to use the homeopathic simulator. So both of these are actually Jade manufactured homeopathic simulators. They're actually manufactured by Dr. Charles McWilliams, who is one of the top homeopathic physicians in the world today. He runs a clinic in Nevis, has 7,000 patients, where homeopathy is one of the primary medicines used to treat people in the clinic. First thing I want to just say a couple of things. One, if you haven't read the 10 Dimensions of Homeopathy textbook, you have to do that. You cannot really understand how, especially electronic simulators in homeopathy work, unless you've actually read the book. So highly recommend that as a first step, and if you haven't done it yet, please do that now, because I'm not going to cover all the material here that's actually in that book. This is just meant to be more of a reminder. So I've got a couple of things. One, I've got two different versions of the Jade homeopathic simulator. These are basic models, okay? They're basic. This one's more basic than this one, but both of them, they're very basic models. The more comprehensive homeopathic simulators are actually quite a bit larger. They may have many bells and whistles, 20 different dials, multiple card slots, multiple wells, multiple IOs or in and out ports for various attachments. And of course, they're priced accordingly, probably starting around $3,000 and going up to $20,000. These, of course, are more budget-minded. They're kind of the starter model to just get you going in your clinic, okay? The other thing I have is I'm thinking ahead, so I have some 2.5 ounce plastic dropper bottles, okay? You can get these really cheaply on eBay. I would suggest buying 100 at a time, okay, because then they cost quite a bit less. When I use them, like this, as Storm Chaser, which is actually a belladonna remedy, I make this for our dog Maggie. I do use a Sharpie and I do mark them. If you were going to be delivering these to your clients, then I would absolutely recommend that you invest in some labels and make some labels, okay? And always the labels are for sacred water, because that's what's in the homeopathic remedy. What I fill this bottle with, or what I fill this bottle with, is just simply distilled water. There are no other ingredients as far as additives that are in the water. So there's nothing toxic. There's no toxicity to these types of homeopathic remedies at all. They're completely safe. They're energetic. They're vibrational infused remedies, which are simulacrums or similes of other homeopathic remedies or remedies that you make. The other thing that I do is I get these dram bottles and I put labels on them. But for example, here I have my homeopathic remedy, my Storm Stress homeopathic remedy for animals, okay? Put it right on the label, that way I always know what it is. And if I was going to make this, I'm going to do this for Maggie. The large bottle goes in the large well. The small bottle goes in the front well. That's called the witness, okay? And then you'll notice on the front, there's a dial here. Now this dial is actually the various potencies. So, and actually I'll show you one step before I make a remedy with this. All right, you'll notice the big red button on the front right here. Notice the red button. All right, so what I do is nothing happens at this point, but I turn it on to the lowest remedy, and then I press and hold this button for 10 seconds. And what that does is that clears the machine from any previous remedy that I might have made that maybe was different from this. Don't forget to do that step between remedies. Also, make sure there's no remedy in the vial, in the witness container, previous to pressing the red button. And the reason why is it will neutralize or erase the signature that's in your sample bottle. We call these mothers. All right. So then I'll take my pre-prepared bottle I filled with distilled water. It's already labeled. And I put that in the receiver well. And I simply turn the dial. Now, if I'm making this for the first time, I want to have a very low potency. So I'm just going to turn it to 6, which is the first spot. And then I'm going to let this sit for 3 minutes. So it doesn't have a timer, so you have to watch the time yourself. Now, if this is the second, third, or fourth time you're making a remedy for the same issue, then I'm going to go a little higher. I'm going to go up to maybe 30C, which is marked clearly here on the front. And then again, I'm going to let that cook for 3 minutes. Now I'm going to let that cook while I talk about this other model. This model is a little different. You'll notice it has these I/O ports on either side. What's different, what's unique about this is that you then have 2 different paddles. You notice one's red, one's black. It doesn't matter which one you actually plug in to the side. Hold on 1 second, a little technical difficulty, of course. There we go. It doesn't matter which side you plug in. Just plug one in here, and we're going to plug one in on the opposite side. And so then we have the 2 paddles. What this does is when I'm making a remedy for a specific individual, I'd like to personalize that frequency of the remedy that's going to be made. And so I have my client hold the paddles, or if you're making it for yourself, then you would hold the paddles. You have your mother tincture or your mother homeopathic remedy in the first well. You have your prepared bottle in the second well. And then you simply turn it on, just like we did here, and let it run for 3 minutes. So yes, you have to hold the paddles for 3 minutes. When you're done, you just turn it off, and your remedy is actually ready to go. It just needs to be labeled and given to the client. Don't forget to label your bottles, because if you're going to do more than one, it's really easy to forget that you have actually what you've actually put in what bottle, since they all look the same. Okay, so this is very, very simple. That's the only difference. So if you have one of the upgraded models that has the paddles, that's how you use it. Now right here, that's actually already done. So I'm just going to pull these out. And not only do I label my mother remedies, I also number them. And I have an index file. And in the index file, for example, I will number the remedies and list on the label here. You don't have to get too close, but just so you know, as an example, that's how I keep track of what's in here. All these are blanks ready to be made. Now, this case also, this is an eBay item. You can get these bottles, these dram bottles or 10 milliliter bottles or what. You can get these from sks.com, sks.com. And if you buy them 2 dozen at a time, they're really cheap. Now, the other thing this simulator does, which is really interesting, is it's made to use the Gallivarden cards, which of course are discussed in the book, and I've already demonstrated these to you in person. Basically, it's a card that has the frequency. This symbol here represents the frequency of the remedy. That's determined through another process I'm not going to go into right now. And then a drop of the actual homeopathic remedy. This one happens to be for allergens and for detoxing allergens. A drop of the remedy, of the traditional remedy, is actually put in the middle of the card, and then the card is laminated. All right. These cards are made to go into this slot into the front of the machine. And when the card is loaded into the front of the machine, and it's printed with a magnetic ink, that's how the machine can read it. When the card is in the front of the machine, it acts the same as the mother that I put into the first well. So these two are the same, really. The only difference here is I can actually take that card, that's detox for allergies, and let's say I want to take something that people are actually allergic to, like, well, not the mullein, let's get some poison ivy maybe, like poison ivy, okay? So I take my poison ivy mother, which I made from actual poison ivy, and I put that in the well. It's going to make the remedy for poison ivy, actually the opposite of the toxin. And then I put my Gallivardin detox card in the first well. I just slide it in there. And now I have a layered remedy. It has the benefits of the first, the Gallivardin card, homeopathic remedy, and the mother. And then if I put a blank filled with distilled water in the receiver well, when I turn this on, both of those remedies will be imported. Now the interesting thing about it is that's not all you can do. I can actually do this procedure over and over again. I could use multiple cards, and I could layer up to 14 different remedies into one medicine. Up to 14 different remedies in one medicine with this one little device here, okay? And in my index card, see how I've, has A, B, C, D, etc. This is how I keep my Gallivardin cards organized. And any other type of cards that I might want to make, I can make cards myself. For example, here's a Santatana card, which is an Ayurvedic homeopathic remedy for addictions, addictive symptoms, adenoids, AIDS, and so on and so forth. Now, I want to really emphasize this. In no way, shape, or form are we saying that using a homeopathic remedy is effectively a cure as defined by allopathic medicine or state medical boards. It is not. The homeopathic remedies are vibrational essences. There's sacred water, which has the essence of a natural ingredient, but at the same time it has not one molecule of the actual ingredient in it as we're making it. And so it is not a medicine. I would never ever tell someone that a homeopathic remedy is a cure for anything, because that word is so loaded and is so easily misunderstood. This is to help the innate or the inner healing of the person to recover from their illness and to affect the fundamental causes, which might actually be emotional, mental, they might be on the etheric plane, they might actually be energy disruptions that are coming from emotional issues or from the ancient past, and according to some people, possibly even from past lives. So this is not the same thing as a drug, although people will bandy those words about. They'll call homeopathic drugs and homeopathic cures, and that's really incorrect. And of course, if you've read the book and or other books on homeopathy, you'll see that nowhere do we say this is the same as a drug medicine, okay? So these two things here, the index box and the storage box for my mother's, help keep me organized, but basically it could not be simpler, which is the brilliant thing. Simple, you can make medicine personal for anyone, for any issue, and inexpensively. The equipment is inexpensive, and there's no downside. There's no harmful side effects of any kind that a person would suffer from using these. And this would be supplemental to all of the other sacred therapies that you're doing. All right? Well, thank you and good luck.